My featured album this week is Long Long Time, the reunion of Billy Joel's original band. The CD recreates a 1972 radio concert they performed for a station called MMR in Philadelphia. I'm speaking to a different member of the band every day this week. My guest today is Billy's first drummer, Rhys. I asked him where he first met Billy Joel.
I met Billy Joel here in Los Angeles in 1970, and I got the opportunity to do his first solo album. And so me and a guitar player by the name of Don Evans, we set about going into the studio to record Cold Spring Harbor. And the producer was Artie Ripp, and I was signed to Artie at the time and Family Records. With a band from Australia. So that was my connection with Billy. We sat down and met, and then we got on our instruments, and Billy immediately launched into a Joe Cocker song. That's how we musically came together. The song was Joe Cocker's version of The Letter. And so Billy started, ding, 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 and off we went, Harvey, off we went.
It's quite funny because Billy still does Joe Cocker sometimes in his concerts today, doesn't he?
He does, yes. And he does Cocker better than Cocker. I didn't say that.
And what did you think of Billy that first time you met him? Did you think, wow, this guy's going places, or this guy's got the ability to go places maybe?
Yes, absolutely, I did. And my wife, Marilyn, even was more intense about his abilities and, what he has as his talent. So she recognized it like I did, but a little more than I did. His material was wonderfully complex to come together on, quite the challenge. And the scope and the variation of his material and his, vocal and piano playing abilities, this was huge.
And were you there the day he received the album and allegedly threw it at the wall because it had been messed up in the mastering somehow?
No, I wasn't, but I did have a little fly on the wall that explained it all to me. So, no, he was back on Long Island. And he'd been sent an acetate copy of the album. And I know that, yes, it became a Frisbee. and that was his critique.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because the songs on it are so good, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Absolutely. That's part of the scope of his ability was such that this was raw talent in a huge way. And he was coming from the right place in terms of his, influences on Long Island there. I managed to fit in through those influences on like the British Wave and the Beatles and the Stones, etc. And so I think that brought me a little close to him, when it came to relating to his songs. And, of course, his classical training and all that was such that I appreciated classical music from growing up, though I never, learned classical. I listened to it and loved it as part of the variety of music influences. So I had something going for me when I came together with Billy,
And then if we move forward a couple of years to 1972, we get to that Sigma concert in Philadelphia. What are your memories of that night?
I loved the idea that Billy kind of indirectly gave me the opportunity to relive Sigma, in 2013. And once again, it was kind of a nervous challenge, but it was, such good material that I recorded and then went on the road with that I felt that I was up to the ability to, relive it again with Larry and Don and Elio and David and Kenny. So it was a wonderful challenge to me in an overall sense.
And were you amazed at how much attention that concert got? Because I know Captain Jack was just played by the radio station a lot, and that maybe is the song that made Billy Joel a star in the early days.
Yeah, it definitely set the cornerstones, Harvey. It definitely set the cornerstones. WMMR audience loved it and kept calling back in and requesting it. After the concert, then the program director made a tape of it and made it available to the listeners. And so that really was the touchstone of Billy's career. From that point of view, was that version of Captain Jack. It was 18 months later that it finally ended up on the album, Piano Man album.
How long did you stay with Billy Joel after that?
I was with Billy through 1975. My last concert was a really good one. It was in Toronto at the York Hotel, Columbia Records Convention. It was the last night of a week's worth of Columbia acts performing there. And we opened for Phoebe Snow and then Simon and Garfunkel. And the wonderful deal about the Simon and Garfunkel aspect was that this was their first time back together doing a performance in a bunch of years.
And so what happened then in 1975? Did you decide to leave? Did Billy decide he was going in another direction? What happened?
Yeah, Billy decided that he needed to move back to New York from LA and regroup. So in doing that, set himself up to put a band together from Long Island and get a producer who would be able to hear what Billy wanted, and Phil Ramone knew what to do. And so it was the perfect marriage from a great deal of time that had gone by and the frustration of Billy wanting to be a band situation as opposed to an artist who was, led by a producer who needed his players, etc., and a package deal like that. Billy wanted to recreate the band feel that he grew up in. So studio musicians were not the way he wanted to go. He went along with it. When there was an opportunity to try a different course, that's what he did. So he moved back to New York and resettled. And, of course, as the song lyric in Tomorrow's Today goes, I just can't have my way. Well, he got his way.
What have you done since then?
Got back into the freelance situation here in LA. And that led me to a singer-songwriter by the name of Hoyt Axton. Mm-hmm. And Hoyt wrote a song called Joy to the World that Three Dog Night had a hit on. I got a call asking if I would like to join his band. And I said, yes, I'd love that. And so then I spent 19 years with Hoyt. I toured all the world. In 1999, Hoyt unfortunately passed away. And I had dovetailed into a Tex-Mex singer-songwriter who had two very, very large hit records worldwide by a fellow by the name of Freddie Fender. And so, Harvey, I then went into the Hispanic world of music, which was really good.
And during that time, have you kept in touch with Billy or not?
Yes, absolutely.
The two of you never had any issues. You've always stayed friends.
Yes, I feel very strongly about that because I wanted to preserve that opportunity Billy gave me. It's that simple, Harvey. I had an incredible shot, and Billy Joel gave it to me. And, and it was indirectly through Artie Rips. When it came time for Billy to tour on the Cold Spring Harbor album, he and his manager called me and asked me if I wanted to go on tour. And at that moment in 1971, yes, I wanted to go on tour. I hadn't done that and was really, really keen to be able to go play, album tracks live. Billy gave me that opportunity, and Harvey, I'm ever grateful.
In 2013, you staged this reunion concert. How did it come about? Was it just you and Larry having a chat and deciding we've got to do this?
Larry had been chatting with different people in New York over a period of time, I guess, and maybe he prompted the idea that perhaps we could, obviously with Billy's blessings, try and redo and relive and etc. the Sigma Sound tape that we had done, because the trend in the music industry had become, lots of tributes.
Yeah.
And Harvey, I am not the kind of person who's inclined to want to do those. So when Larry put it to me about, possibly doing a tribute, doing the Sigma Sound performance was, to me, at least real, you know? And so I agreed that I liked the idea. We therefore needed to bring in Al Hertzberg, and I knew that Al had, he had physical problems going on, and so it might be touch and go with him, and so as it turned out, Al unfortunately wasn't capable of being able to come to reliving his parts, which are excellent. And it was just that's how it was at that moment in 2013. I know he would have loved to have done it, and we would have loved to have had him. And we tried to talk him into it, but I totally understand his situation at the time. And so, if I may just carry on a little bit here, Harvey, with Al.
Sure.
Because he wonderfully influenced me during our time with Billy. And it was his first time on the road, like it was my first time on the road in the United States. He's young, and so there's all those road trepidations that you're kind of forced to have to face that you've never faced before. Part of the pressure, And so Al, we became kind of close from the point of view that he was somebody who could come to me about anything that was, a pressure on, traveling on the road and doing concerts and so forth. So during that period, I got to enjoy his musical influences, and he opened up a lot of musical influences to me that I've gone with and will be part of me for the rest of my life. So I want to credit Al for his part of his wonderful abilities were a wonderful influence musically on me outside of playing Billy's music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I really got quite close to Al, and from that musical point of view. So I just want to credit him, and I miss him, and I've got some of his home material in cassette and CD form, and that was partly due to he reciprocated me by introducing me to his family out there in Plainview and in Hempstead. I got to have a wonderful taste of what it's like growing up in rock and roll from Long Island. And Long Island, as you know, Harvey, is a major world influence with certain people, the Rascals, the Vanilla Fudge, etc. And all these people, Felix Pappalardi, Leslie West, they're Long Islanders, and their music I just was drawn to from Australia, as a matter of fact, an Al band. And so Al, to me, was, I had a great respect for him because he was part of that. So I just wanted to give Al a little, shout out there to the rest of the world. And I'll always thank him for being a wonderful influence, and introduced me to his family, because they're all excellent people, excellent Long Island families.
So how did it feel to play in the bitter end that night?